Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Ishan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. Pakistan continues flip-flop. A week after Envoy Abdul Basit said comprehensive bilateral dialogue process was suspended, Foreign Office now says door for talks still open. India slams the use of hidden veto that China used to block the bid to ban Pathankot mastermind JEM chief Masood Azhar at UN. Questions why general members are not informed reason for not imposing sanctions on terrorists. Campaigning for the second phase of assembly polls ends in West Bengal. Voting will be held in the 6 North Bengal districts on Sunday. And Delhi kickstarts second phase of odd-even scheme to combat air pollution. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal appeals to people to make the initiative a success. And Rajya Sabha Chairman Muhammad Hamid Ansari gives CBI approval to prosecute Anil Sahani. MP in the upper house faces charges of cheating and corruption in the LTC scam. Our top story this evening. In an apparent U-turn, Pakistan is now expressing willingness to resume talks with India. But the central government has indicated that dialogue will resume only after Pakistan takes concrete action on those behind the Pathankot airbase attacks. Meanwhile, India has also objected to the use of the secret veto to protect terrorists from UN sanctions, an action that China has repeatedly taken, most recently to shield the Pathankot attackers.
More flip-flops from Pakistan over the dialogue process with India. Pakistan's Foreign Office now says the door for talks still is open. The comments come a week after Pakistan High Commissioner Abdul Basit said the comprehensive bilateral dialogue process was suspended. Pakistani Foreign Office spokesperson Nafees Zakaria said, and I quote him, "We need to look ahead and not think in terms of foreclosing any options. Both sides are in contact with each other. Once the modalities are worked out, secretary-level talks would take place."
It is Pakistan which has created confusion. The Pakistan ambassador in India making such a statement a few days back created confusion. Actually, India and Pakistan should engage themselves in a meaningful dialogue and try to sort out all the problems bilaterally.
पाकिस्तान अब भरोसे लायक नहीं रहा. जिस तरह से पठानकोट की जांच के बाद उसने पलटी मारी, वो अविश्वसनीय साथी है.
Last December, the two nations agreed to restart the peace dialogue, calling it the Comprehensive Bilateral Dialogue. However, Foreign Secretary-level talks between the two countries were derailed after the terror attack on the Pathankot Air Force Base, in which 7 security personnel were killed. Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed claimed responsibility for the attack, in which 6 attackers were also killed. India sent evidence to Pakistan and also hosted its joint investigation team in Pathankot.
The joint investigation team loud and clear while in India makes a statement that there's clinching evidence being provided by India which convinces them beyond an out of doubt of the involvement of Pakistan. The Pakistan media said that there's been no cooperation and the entire thing was stage managed, etc., based on which the Pakistan High Commissioner India Basit, on his own volition, without perhaps the clearance from the establishment of Pakistan, but maybe on the direction of the Pakistan Army, stated that talks have been suspended. Made him look ridiculous and foolish.
Meanwhile, India slammed the use of hidden veto that allowed China to block its bid at the United Nations to ban Pathankot mastermind JEM chief Masood Azhar. Demanding accountability, India said the world body's general members were never informed the reason for not acceding to requests for sanctioning terrorists. During a debate at the UNSC on Thursday, India's permanent representative to the UN ambassador Syed Akbaruddin said, and I quote him, "The procedure of unanimity and anonymity of the Al-Qaeda, Taliban and ISIS sanctions."
The Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today addressed a G20 Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors meeting today. Stating that the time is ripe for re-evaluation of the fiscal policy space, Jaitley said the key downside risks that could derail fragile global recovery are weak demand and tighter financial markets. Noting that both imports and exports had declined in all G20 economies in 2015, Jaitley stressed the need to articulate an effective policy response to revive the global economy. Yesterday, Jaitley conveyed to the US India's concerns over the hike in H-1B and L-1 visa fees. India and the US also agreed to enhance collaboration on tackling offshore tax evasion and sharing cross-border tax information. He also called for concrete action against countries that sponsor terrorists by invoking the Financial Action Task Force that combats money laundering. Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari gave his approval to the CBI to prosecute JDU MP Anil Sahani. The MP is facing charges of cheating and corruption in the LTC scam. In fact, Sahani has denied the charges and has refused to resign.
Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari gave his approval to the CBI to prosecute JDU MP Anil Sahani. The Rajya Sabha MP faces charges of cheating and corruption in what is being called the LTC scam. The Bihar MP will be the first from the upper house to be prosecuted by CBI.
ये खबर हमारे संज्ञान में है। पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष श्री नीतीश कुमार जी एवं वरिष्ठ नेता श्री शरद यादव जी को मैंने सभी तथ्यों से अवगत कराया है और हम श्री साहनी जी के भी संपर्क में हैं। उचित समय पर आपको सही सूचनाओं से अवगत कराएंगे।
The CBI has charged that Sahani conspired with other persons to use forged e-tickets and fake boarding passes without performing the actual journey. His actions allegedly defrauded Rajya Sabha to the tune of 23.71 lakh rupee.
This case was surfaced in 2013, and at that point of time our party stand was very clear that if there is something evidence, the case should be filed and the trial should take place, and anybody guilty should not be spared.
CBI filed a case on 31st of October 2013 against Sahani and others after the Central Vigilance Commission reported the case. Sahani, however, has denied the charges and refused to resign the membership of the House.
ये सब राजनीति से प्रेरित है। जो राजनीति से द्वेष रखने वाले लोग हैं, उसको सबके सामने सीबीआई को उसका जांच करना चाहिए। या फिर किस कारण से इनके खाता में एक पैसा भी नहीं गया है और किस कारण से मेरे पास में भेजा गया। तो कहीं न कहीं सीबीआई को भी दिग्भ्रमित करने का काम किया गया है।
कानून अपना काम करेगा और लेकिन इससे निश्चित रूप से कि जेडीयू जैसे जो दल है, हालांकि नीतीश कुमार जी से कोई आप नैतिकता की अपेक्षा कर नहीं सकते क्योंकि वो स्वयं एक चारा घोटाले के जो आरोपी हैं उनके साथ गठबंधन बनाकर साबुद्दीन जैसे अपराधियों के साथ मिलकर आज वो बिहार के सत्ता में हैं।
Sahani claimed that twice he drew attention of the authorities in 2013 about false bills submitted in his name by racketeers against LTC. The second-term Rajya Sabha member called it a conspiracy against him, claiming that he was a whistleblower and was unfairly targeted. All MPs get 34 air tickets in a year for themselves, their family members and associates for domestic travel to their constituencies. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the uncertainty over the conduct of Thrissur Puram festival in Kerala ended today after the state government cleared holding fireworks display and parading of elephants in the traditional style. Chief Minister Oommen Chandy gave the clearances at a meeting of the office bearers of the relevant temple boards. Chandy said all steps will be taken to ensure safety during fireworks display and parading of elephants. The uncertainties over Puram were triggered after the High Court order banned fireworks display during the night hours in the wake of the recent Kollam fireworks tragedy.
General decision is Thrissur Puram must be conducted in a very good way, but at the same time we have to follow the guidelines of the safety measures, and also we will consider the directions from the court, and there are some rules that also under law that also we have to implement.
Now, the second phase of Delhi's odd-even formula kick-started today to combat spiralling air pollution in the national capital. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal appealed to people to join hands to make the initiative a success. The second phase of odd even will continue till the 30th of April.
Car traffic on Friday registered a huge drop in Delhi as the city once again rolled out its odd-even traffic formula. The fortnight-long scheme aims at battling pollution in the national capital, but is creating trouble for other states.
जानकारी आज सुबह मिली हमें टीवी में। हम जहाँ होटल में रुके वहाँ पर टीवी पे आज आ रहा था कुछ 15 अप्रैल है, तो आज कुछ छुट्टी का भी दिन है ना। हाँ, लेकिन हमें तो यार जाना है, कहाँ जाएंगे? मतलब पूरे दिल्ली में कहीं नहीं निकल सकते, ऐसा है क्या होता है? हमें कुछ थोड़ा पता है यार।
Inconvenience, but we can always use the public transport to a large extent. Metro is fine. So metro covers most of the requirement, even if it is not a last mile connectivity could be a little bit of a problem, but still I welcome that.
The Aam Aadmi Party government has deployed 2,000 traffic personnel, 580 enforcement officials and over 5,000 civil defence volunteers on the roads for 15 days. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal also appealed to Delhiites to join hands to make the scheme a success.
इस बार मुख्य तौर पर जो चैलेंज है वो ये है कि मौसम बदल चुका है, गर्मी का मौसम है, लोगों को चौराहों पर सिविल डिफेंस को ड्यूटी करने का चैलेंज है, स्कूल सारे खुले हुए हैं, बच्चों का चैलेंज है, बट हमें भरोसा है दिल्ली वालों पर, सब मिलकर के एक दूसरे का सहयोग करेंगे, कारपूल करेंगे और इसका समाधान निकालेंगे।
People violating the rule will be fined 2,000 rupee. Also, a 20-member special task force will look into matters reported by mobile teams. Experts will monitor its effect on gaseous pollutants like ozone this time. Friday, being a public holiday, did not see much rush on public transport facilities like the Delhi Metro and DTC buses. But the real test will be on Monday when office goers and school children step out. The scheme applies from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and will not be implemented on Sundays. With inputs from Oddeven, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, President Pranab Mukherjee will leave for Tamil Nadu and Madhya Pradesh today on a two-day visit. The President will first visit the Defence Services Staff College in Tamil Nadu, Wellington, where he will preside over the graduation ceremony of the 71st Staff Course. On day 2, the President will proceed to Madhya Pradesh, where he will inaugurate the 4th retreat of the judges of the Supreme Court at the National Judicial Academy in Bhopal. He will also take part in a dinner hosted at the National Judicial Academy. Chief Justice of India T.S. Thakur and other judges of the Supreme Court will attend the retreat as well. Let's now get to what else is making news around the country and nationwide. Family members of jailed Indian Kirpal Singh, who died in Pakistan, met Home Minister Rajnath Singh today. Kirpal Singh's sister was accompanied by Dalbir Kaur, sister of another Indian, Sarabjit Singh, who had also died in a Pakistani jail in 2013. The family members denied Pakistan's claim that he died of a heart attack and demanded a post-mortem to ascertain the facts. The Delhi government today banned the manufacture, storage and sale, distribution and sale of pan masala, gutka and all forms of chewable tobacco for 1 year. Unpackaged products of chewable tobacco too are within the ambit of the ban. Previously, the Delhi government issued a notification in September 2012 for a ban on gutka in the city. The Union Home Ministry's decision to restart the construction work of a lift irrigation canal along the line of actual control in Ladakh was stopped by the Indian Army after the Chinese Army objected to the project. The decision was taken after locals protested for about 20 days. China does not view the line of actual control in Ladakh sector as clearly demarcated. In 2014, India had protested against the construction of a Chinese road link in the same area as it was reportedly being done in Indian territory. Time now for all the election-related news in our Special Verdict 2016. Now, campaigning for the second phase of assembly polls in West Bengal came to an end at 5 p.m. today. Voting will be held in the 6 North Bengal districts, including Jalpaiguri, Darjeeling and Malda in this phase. The second phase of the polling for the 56 assembly constituencies will take place on the 17th of April. The first phase of the 6-phase elections was held in 2 parts on the 4th and 11th of April. Now, elaborate security arrangements were made today for the second phase of the assembly elections in West Bengal. The Central Armed Police Forces will handle the situation inside booths, while the state police forces are involved in other jobs like managing queues and crowds. In all, 83 companies of Central Security Forces, 2,800 state police have been put in place to ensure peaceful polling. In all, 383 candidates are fighting for 56 constituencies that go to the polls in the second phase in West Bengal.
एरिया डोमिनेशन कर रहे हैं, जो रूट चार्ट है उसके हिसाब से पूरे इलाके में जो फोर्सेस हैं वो विजिट कर रही हैं, पोलिंग बूथ्स और उसके सराउंडिंग विलेजेस में लोगों में कॉन्फिडेंस पैदा कर रहे हैं कि हम हैं और हम इंश्योर करेंगे फ्री और फेयर एंड पीसफुल पोलिंग.
ऑल बूथ्स सिंगल, डबल, ट्रिपल, क्वाड्रुपल সবাই বুথের মধ্যে CAPF রয়েছে.
Now, news from Polban, Tamil Nadu, where the PWF released its list of candidates for the upcoming polls in the state. The list gives a clearer picture of how the main parties are poised in some key constituencies. VCK will take on Chief Minister Jayalalitha in RK Nagar, while DMDK will field a candidate against DMK's MK Stalin. And DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi will face a CPI candidate in Thiruvarur. Here's a detailed report.
A day after the alliance's lead partner DMDK announced its candidates for 40 of the 104 seats it's contesting, other constituents of the four-party People's Welfare Front and GK Vasan-led Tamil Manila Congress on Thursday finalized the constituencies for the polls in Tamil Nadu. All four leaders of PWF, MDMK founder Vaiko, VCK leader Thol Thirumavalavan, state secretaries of CPIM and CPI G. Ramakrishnan and R. Mutharasan, and TNC senior leader B. Jnana Desikan released their party's list of constituencies in Chennai.
Vijay Kant is going to campaign for you also?
All the constituencies. He is the Chief Minister designate, he is the Chief Minister candidate. He will campaign all the 234 constituencies.
The seat sharing agreement in the combine is 104 for DMDK, 29 for MDMK, 26 for TMC and 25 each for VCK, CPIM and CPI. Actor turned politician Vijay Kant is the CM candidate of the alliance. The new bloc will take on both DMK and AIA-DMK in the forthcoming polls on the issues of corruption and lack of adequate development in Tamil Nadu.
We will get both the DMK and AIA-DMK sympathizers votes. See, the main issue is the corruption. For the past, moreover, for the past 48 years of Dravidian party rule, there is no significant improvement in Tamil Nadu. There is no development. There is no agriculture has come to an stagnation. Industrial growth has stagnation. Unemployment is every day developing. Youth have got no opportunity for employment. So all these issues will be focused in the election.
All 234 seats in the Tamil Nadu Assembly will go to polls on the 16th of May in a single phase. Counting of votes will take place on 19th of May. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for a short break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
We should have teaching of earth sciences in school. Our aim should be that the youngsters should not only think about physics, chemistry, maths, biology, but also geology. I can survive without wearing a gold, but I cannot survive if I don't take water even for one day.
Watch Eureka only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Some international news now. And ahead of Tuesday's New York primary, Democratic presidential hopefuls Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders exchanged a heated debate at the CNN's primetime event. Both candidates traded barbs on their qualifications for the presidency. Debate featured major issues like Wall Street reforms and gun control laws.
If you believe that given the crises we face as a nation, a declining middle class, 47 million people living in poverty, a broken criminal justice system, if you believe that those issues can be addressed by establishment politics and establishment economics, you've got a very good candidate to vote for, but it's not Bernie Sanders.
Ahead of the crucial New York primary on Tuesday, heated exchanges were witnessed between Democratic presidential hopefuls Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. Sanders cast doubt on Clinton's judgment and credibility, while Clinton hit back at the Vermont senator, saying he lacked experience and pragmatism.
That's why I'm proposing a major $125 billion breaking every barrier agenda to revitalize and empower communities of color and places where unemployment and poverty remain stubbornly high, from inner cities to poor rural areas, from Appalachia to Indian country. It has to start with a strategy to create more good jobs.
Issues including gun control, Israel and Wall Street reforms surfaced during the debate, among other topics. Sanders criticized Clinton for her financial ties to Wall Street, besides taking potshots at her for supporting the Iraqi war.
And I'm going to do everything I can to take on the gun lobby and to try to save lives, the lives of the children of women like this and the sisters and the brothers and the daughters and the sons of so many others.
But on the ground, voters in New York City are divided.
For Secretary Clinton, New York is home. She's got to do well here. The population that she generally does well with in primaries, lots of African Americans, lots of women over 40, are here in large numbers and tend to vote in Democratic primaries. Bernie Sanders picks up steam here, does well. It'll be a problem for Secretary Clinton. Why? She's going to have a lot of explaining to do to Democrats all over the country, and the Republicans will be, frankly, rejoicing.
With 247 pledged delegates at stake, New York City is among the most significant nominating contests before the Democrats' July convention in Philadelphia. So far, Clinton leads Sanders by 251 bound delegates to the July Democratic Convention, where 2,383 delegates will be needed for the nomination. The New York primary could either help former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton consolidate her status as Democratic frontrunner or hand a significant victory to rival Bernie Sanders. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, North Korea today failed in its fresh attempt to launch what experts believe was an intermediate-range ballistic missile on Friday. The missile launch was in defiance with the UN sanctions which are in place. The launch was scheduled as the country celebrated the Day of the Sun on the birth anniversary of Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un's grandfather and founding President Kim Il-sung. It also comes as an embarrassing setback for Kim Jong-un, who is responsible for raising tensions in the Korean peninsula with several nuclear tests and missile launches during the past several months. China, meanwhile, warned against further worsening tensions in the region if Pyongyang continues with its nuclear mission.
오늘 새벽 북한은 동해안 지역에서 미사일을 발사했으나 실패한 것으로 추정됩니다. 우리 군은 북한의 5차 핵실험과 미사일 추가 도발 가능성에 예의주시하며 이에 대비하고 있습니다.
当前呢，半岛形势复杂敏感，我们希望所有有关各方都能够严格遵守安理会决议，避免采取可能导致局势进一步紧张的任何。
Brazil's Supreme Court today rejected a last-ditch attempt by President Dilma Rousseff to halt an impeachment process against her. 7 of the 10 justices denied a request for an injunction against the proceedings that Brazil's Attorney General said amounted to denying Rousseff the opportunity to defend herself. The developments come even as Brazil's lower house of Congress is due to vote on Sunday on setting Rousseff to trial in the Senate. The impeachment debate in the lower house of parliament is due to start later on Friday and continue until Sunday's vote. If 2/3 of MPs vote for impeachment, the motion will pass to the Senate. An impeachment vote will pave the way for Rousseff to be removed from office. Rousseff, who says her opponents are plotting a coup, faces claims that she manipulated government accounts. That's it from us. Goodbye.